said, you have to kill everybody here.
Yeah.
That's like so unreal. So we're all very troubled, and so there was after the surf music, there was the British invasion, took half the charts, and then there was, when we sort of phased out, there was a San Francisco, the people are looking for something, and San Francisco bands were basically surf bands, same instrumental competency, but they had a message, they had something to say. So that became popular. Was that your question?
Yeah, yeah, and you went on to interact with a number of those
Yes.
different artists.
Yes, actually, that's a Rick Griffin logo. We made that up so I could give it away to my friends, a decal. I have one on my Arson Watch fan out there. So when I was in New York, MGM went through one of those big corporate takeovers, and I'm working on an album with, we've done the Vanilla Funk album with the Challengers, and we wanted to do a separate album with the guitar player, and I'm looking for material, so I'm researching these unrecorded Bob Dylan songs, because Sonny and Cher and the Byrds and a lot of people had launched their careers by recording unreleased Bob Dylan tunes. And in the process, I meet his manager, Albert Grossman, and he goes, why don't you work for me, Randy? Why don't you work? Albert Grossman's from Chicago, and he managed Bob Dylan, the band, Janis Joplin, Peter, Paul and Mary, Paul Butterfield, just endless number of people. He was the premier personal manager at the time. So when this changeover came at MGM, there were just people that I just didn't feel comfortable with anymore, and Albert saw me at the Chelsea Hotel and said, why don't you open an office? We got all these acts in California. Why don't you open an office for me in California? And I'm living in New York and wishing I was in California. And I go, I can go home? He said, yeah. And he bought me 2 tape machines, and I moved back into my studio in downtown LA that was Rick Griffin's old studio. And I ran Bob Dylan's publishing, which was Blonde on Blonde, John Wesley Harding, and the Basement Tapes, which were all those unreleased Dylan tunes. And so at that point in his career, every artist, Frank Sinatra, wanted to do a Dylan tune. So what would you do for Frank Sinatra? Well, he just broke up with Mia Farrow. Let's do Sad-Eyed Lady of the Lowlands. So he wanted to hear it. I played it for him, and he got to that line, my warehouse eyes and my Arabian drums. What does that mean? Nobody ever asked me that. You know, you just listen to a Dylan song and it's poetry, right? So, I don't know. And he said, I can't sing it if I don't know what it means. So Sinatra didn't do that. And then Barbra Streisand wanted to do a Dylan tune. And she has certain magic notes that she can do. That's all she can do. And I said, well, I played her a bunch of songs, and there just wasn't one with the magic Barbra Streisand notes in it. And I said, well, why do you want to do a Dylan tune? She said, well, everybody that comes to my concerts is 10 years older than me. I want people my age to show up. So I played her all these songs. Finally, I'm out of songs. So I played her the comic book and me, just us, we caught the bus. And before we knew it, we were back in bed on the very next day with a nose full of pus. Yea, heavy in a bottle of bread. And Streisand, Barbara looked at me, and Richard Perry, her Bruce, they look at me, I said, I'm out of songs. I don't have any more. So she recorded a song of mine called Free the People by Barbara Keith, which I'd worked on with Peter Asher. Do you know Peter Asher's name? Yeah. He produced James Taylor, and Peter and I shared it after the Beatles manager died, Brian Epstein. Then Alan Klein came in for the Rolling Stones attorney manager and fired everybody at Apple, and they all came to work with us at MGM. So Peter and I shared an office in New York and LA, and I helped break James Taylor at that time. But there was a point to this. I forget.
Well, we're following the thread of this young man from Palos Verdes that was spinning records and got a bass guitar and then evolved into an amazing, amazing career. Dave